Hello, my name is Rachel Lugge. I work for the Alzheimer's Association, and today I'm going to read you a story called What's Happening to Grandpa by Maria Shriver. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Kate. She was curious, sensitive, and wise beyond her age. Her younger brothers and sister looked up to her and thought she knew the answers to everything. Kate's parents had taught her to celebrate life, be kind to friends, be respectful to teachers, and always to stick up for your family. Family was a big deal in Kate's home. In fact, every Sunday, Kate and her brothers and sister visited her grandparents. Kate felt lucky to have the grandparents that she had. Kate thought her grandmother was so cool. As for Grandpa, well, he was a character. He didn't talk to angels, he talked to God. At least that's what he told Kate. He loved baseball, classical music, and eating potato chips. Lots and lots of potato chips. Most of all, Grandpa loved to tell the kinds of stories that charmed everyone, with his tales about baseball, his life on a submarine, and riding his bike through Europe. As her mother often told Kate, Grandpa was one of a kind. To Kate, neither of her grandparents seemed old. In fact, she was sure that they thought of themselves as kids. That's one of the reasons she loved being with them so much. One Sunday, while visiting her grandparents, Kate noticed that her grandpa was repeating the same stories. He kept asking the same questions over and over, and when she asked him about his day, he couldn't seem to remember what he had just done. At first, Kate didn't think much about it. She knew some older people had trouble reading, some couldn't hear like they once did, and some couldn't even walk very well anymore. So forgetting a few things didn't seem like a big deal to her. But one weekend, while Kate was making lemonade in the kitchen, she heard her grandpa banging drawers in the hall and complaining that he couldn't find his keys. She watched as her grandmother tried to tell her grandpa that he wasn't allowed to drive anymore and that she would drive him to the store. Grandpa threw down his books, yelled, and turned and slammed the door. His behavior wasn't like Grandpa at all. Kate watched as Grandma stood alone in the hall, put her face in her hands, and began to cry. After several more weekend visits with Grandpa, it was clear to Kate that something was wrong with him. She went to her mom and said, "Grandpa keeps repeating himself. He can't seem to remember what he just did. I saw him yell at Grandma, and this morning he didn't even remember my name." "Mom," she said, "what's happening to Grandpa?" "Sweetheart, Grandpa went to the doctor recently because he wanted to find out why he was having problems remembering so many things. Some memory loss is quite normal for older people, so we didn't know whether to be worried or not. The doctor decided to give Grandpa lots of tests to find out if his problem was something different. When the test came back, the doctor found out your Grandpa has a condition called Alzheimer's. It's a disease of the brain that some people get when they're older. It affects Grandpa's memory and makes him confused, irritated, and often angry because he's struggling to remember things he just did or conversations he just had. It's really hard for him, and it's devastating for Grandma and me to see someone we love, with whom we shared our entire lives, go off into his own world." Kate's mother took a deep breath and looked her right in the eye. "Honey, what we're going to do now is support Grandma and just keep on loving and respecting Grandpa the way we always have. We're going to have to be more patient with him and more understanding. It's going to be hard, but it's important for you and your brothers and sister to understand that Grandpa doesn't mean to be annoying when he asks the same question over and over. It's just that his brain isn't working the same way it used to, and so he struggles to remember the things he just did. He still enjoys talking about experiences he's had many years ago, but the time will come when he won't be able to recall memories from even a long time ago." Kate thought about that for a long time. If Grandpa had Alzheimer's, did that mean her mom was going to get it? Would Kate get it too? Sensing her daughter's anxiety, Kate's mom said, "Just because Grandpa has Alzheimer's doesn't mean I'm going to get it or that anyone else in our family will. Some people get it when they grow older. Some who have Alzheimer's continue to live at home, but others are better off living in a place where they can receive special care. We're also learning more and more every day, and doctors are learning more about how they can help people like Grandpa. Someday there will be a cure." "But what about now?" asked Kate. "Is Grandpa going to change? Is he going to be a different kind of Grandpa from now on?" Kate's mother reached out and stroked her daughter's hair. "There's no way to tell, honey. One day he probably won't know who we are. That's why it's so important to cherish who he is today." Kate hated the idea of her own parents getting old. She wanted them to stay young forever, but she knew that they couldn't. At the moment, Kate knew that she needed to be with her grandpa and her family this weekend and not with her friends. She needed to explain to them why she couldn't be with them on Sunday. She wanted them to understand what was happening to her grandpa so that if they met him, they wouldn't laugh at him or think that his behavior was strange. "You guys," Kate said, taking a deep breath, "I have something to tell you." Everyone looked over at Kate. "I just found out that my grandpa has Alzheimer's." Suddenly, everyone was quiet. "All what?" Tina said. "Alzheimer's?" said Roger. "What's that?" said Rachel. "Is it contagious, or is it like cancer?" "No," Kate said. "Alzheimer's is when you lose your memory. You get confused and ask the same things over and over. It starts slow and gets worse over time." "That must be really awful, not being able to remember people and stuff," said Keisha. Now that I think about it, it must be really hard to get old." All of a sudden, Kate got a great idea. She was sure Grandpa would love it. She couldn't wait to see him this weekend. On Sunday morning, when Grandpa opened the door, a huge smile spread across his face. "Grandpa," said Kate, "would it be okay if the two of us made a scrapbook of your life? I brought some of your olden day photos and some pictures of me and the family too. You can tell me the story behind each picture, and then together we'll put them in an album." Grandpa laughed. "That's a fantastic idea," he said, peering eagerly into the box that she brought. "Grandpa," she said, "were you happy when you were a little boy?" "Absolutely," said Grandpa with a smile. "Can you remember a lot from those times?" asked Kate. "The truth is, honey, I'm having trouble remembering many things lately," said Grandpa. Kate reached over and touched her grandpa's arm. "Don't worry, Grandpa. Our photo album will help you remember. You can look at all your old photos, and I'm going to take some new ones so you can remember me and everyone else in the family. I'll write our names under the picture, and I'll write your stories in the album. That way, when you forget something, you'll know just where to look. It will help you. I know it will." Kate's grandpa took her hand in his and held it tight. "You know, Kate, I might not remember what I just did, and I may seem a little more confused than I used to be, but no matter what, the important memories of my life will forever be in my heart." As Grandpa talked on, Kate looked down at her pictures of Grandpa getting married, pictures of him on his honeymoon, pictures of him with his kids when they were little. Kate rocked back in her chair and stared out at the beautiful day. More than ever, she understood how lucky she was to have her grandpa. Kate had no idea what tomorrow would bring, but she knew that what was happening right then and there, in that moment, between her and her grandpa was love, pure and simple. She could feel it. It felt good. It felt warm. It felt peaceful. Kate knew she'd remember that special feeling forever and ever.